Welcome to day 8 of the Winter Universiade. It's the 26th edition of the event, which is taking place in the beautiful Trentino region in the Italian Dolomites. A truly wonderful place to be in the run-up to Christmas. Well, coming up in this programme, we're going to bring you 3 medals. The Ukrainians and the Russians go head-to-head in the women's cross-country relay. Tricky Monte Bondoni, Austria are looking for double gold in the parallel giant slalom snowboarding. And on the ice, Russia face off in their quarter-final against the Czech Republic, while the USA look for revenge against Italy. Cross-country skiing has been one of the staple events at the Universiade since the first ever edition in Chamonix in 1960. It was just 4 events back then. These days it's 11, including the women's 3 by 5 kilometre relay. The venue is Val di Fiemme, which has become synonymous with cross-country skiing over the years, hosting the World Championships on 3 occasions and also the annual Tour de Ski. 17 teams taking part, all eyes on the Russians, who've won the relay 6 times since 1995, including the last 2. They were odds-on favourites to make it a hat-trick. Perfect lead-off from Oksana Usatova, who won gold in the classic sprint. Her first leg 14 minutes 42.2, and a great handover to Anna Povalieva. Mariana Pitkanen, who won bronze in that sprint, kept her in her sight. She handed over 12 seconds behind for Finland to go through in second place. The Swedes coming through third, while the Ukrainians were 21 seconds back in fourth. Povalieva, bronze medalist in the mixed team sprint free final, going off like an express train, maybe pushing just a little bit too much too soon. Ukrainians, though, with the experience, 2/3 of the team that took silver behind the Russians in Turkey 2 years ago, back again this time. Lead-out Katerina Grigorienko was one of them, and this girl, Marina Ansibor, was the other. Ansibor picked up bronze in the 5K, but having moved up to second here, she really opened up the burners as she went in chase of Povalieva, who was now beginning to feel the pace. Poor old Povalieva, stunned to see the Ukrainian fly by. She completely lost her composure as the Swedes went through, and the Kazakhs. Povalieva struggling with a problem with her leg. You see Ukraine opening up a lead, 3 seconds ahead of Sweden at this point. Povalieva still in third, but barely hanging on, and down she goes. Not a happy sight for the Russians, not a happy sight for any skiing fan at all. Struggling to find her feet, in the end landing on her backside. No gold this time for Russia, no medal for the first time since 2003 as they struggled in 12th. Ansibor finishing her leg well, 28 minutes 29.3 seconds, handing over to the newcomer to this Ukrainian team, Katerina Serdyuk. 28-year-old from Kharkov State Academy of Physical Culture, was 4th in the 5K free, eager to collect her first medal of the Games. She had a 6-second advantage over the last Swede, Julia Jansson. The Czechs had moved up to the bronze medal position, a further 20 seconds back, closely followed by Kazakhstan and Finland. By the intermediate stage, Serdyuk had stretched the lead slightly. She was 10 seconds ahead of Jansson at this point. The Kazakhs and the Czechs still in the hunt. Watch out for the Chinese, though. Looks as though she's up at the front, but in fact she's being lapped. It really can be quite a punishing course, the Chinese finishing 9 minutes behind the winners. Ukrainians have won silver in the last 2 games. They picked up bronze in 1999, but they've never taken gold before. In the end, though, it was a comfortable finish for Serdyuk, coming through to clock a total time of 42 minutes 15.8 seconds. Big celebrations for Grigorenko, the Olympian, and Ansibor, whose second leg of 13.25 was absolutely key. A great sprint from Janssen at the end. Sweden taking the silver, their first medal since 1989, and Kazakhstan coming through to pick up the bronze. Well, it's the 8th day of the Universiade, and for the previous 7 we have had glorious sunshine, fantastic visibility. That all changed today as the fog set in over Monte Bondone. Fog, and more fog. That led to delays in the day's big snowboarding events, the men and women's parallel giant slalom. The heats finally got underway, but conditions were tricky for the competitors. Not just the fog, but also the snow turning icy and choppy. Not a good day for the snowboarders, with plenty crashing out. The reigning champion from Germany, Selina Jörg, was a favourite for the women's event, but she lost her semi against Julia Dužmovic and found herself in the bronze medal race against Patricia Kummer of Switzerland. Jörg hit a gate as Kummer took a lead of 13/100ths of a second on the first run, so she had it all to do when they came back for run number 2. The German, though, experienced indeed, coming back well in the second run, just moving slightly ahead as they came towards the finish, keeping control well. As I say, the conditions icy and choppy, and it's Jörg on the blue run coming through to snatch victory by 0.34 seconds. She takes the bronze. Austria were guaranteed the gold and the silver, but would it be Dužmovic or Sabine Schurfmann who would get to carry home the big prize? Well, it was an icy afternoon, and that made the corners particularly tricky. Dužmovic crashed out on the first run, and that meant that she gave up a 1.5 second lead. Dužmovic trailing in well behind there. She must have been wondering. Here we see it. We see her clipping the gate. That's what caused her the problems. When the second run started, it looked as though Dužmovic would have to settle for the silver medal. Schurfmann seeing her way okay in the fog, apparently in control and not taking any chances. Until she too clipped a gate. And disappeared from sight. She's going okay so far, but there you see, into the safety net she went, and that was the end of Sabine Schurfmann's challenge. Dužmovic easing up, coming home for the gold. On this occasion, Stuttgart University getting the better of Innsbruck. And here we just see a replay of Schurfmann. She's looking good, just clips the gate and lands nastily in the barrier. Disappointing for her. She picks up the silver medal. She had the gold in her pocket, but it's a double celebration for Austria. They take gold and silver, with Germany's Selina Jörg picking up the bronze. Sang-Kyun Kim of South Korea was the reigning champion for the men from Turkey 2 years ago, but like Jörg, he too found himself bounced out in the semi-finals. That sent him into the bronze medal race with Tim Masnak of Slovenia, and it was the Slovenian who took a lead of over half a second into the second run. Nothing that Kim could do about it. He did manage to shave a couple of seconds off the lead, but it was Masnak who controlled the race from start to finish, pretty much. And it was he that would come through to collect the bronze medal. The junior champion 2 years ago, securing a 4th medal of the Games for Slovenia.
Bronze to Slovenia. Tim Masnak.
Fighting it out for the men's gold medal, Sebastian Kislinger of the University of Graz. He was the silver medalist 2 years ago when he lost out to Kim. Alongside him, the Italian Aaron March, another of the Innsbruck University Brigade. Kieslinger hoping to give Austria their second gold of the afternoon. He held his line to take the first run by 0.2 of a second.
Eccoli, stanno per tagliare il traguardo, Sebastian Kieslinger, Aaron March, sono 0
Well, at the moment, things looking good for Kieslinger. Second 2 years ago, and with 1 foot on the top step of the podium as the second run got underway. But things went a bit awry there. He clipped that gate early, and that appeared to give March the advantage. He appeared to be taking it as well. But Kieslinger is a fierce competitor, and having taken silver before, he wanted to get his hand on the gold. He put in a fierce burn, regaining the lead and winning by 0.57 seconds. Superb run from the Austrian as he came charging down the mountain. March just clipping a gate there to ensure that Kieslinger picked up the gold medal. Nice big hug for him from his Austrian compatriot. 2 gold medals for them. Superb afternoon for Austria. Kieslinger, the champion for 2013. March taking the silver for Italy. Tim Masnak with bronze for Slovenia.
Le premiazioni, per essere preciso, per le gare maschile e
into the quarter-finals of the men's ice hockey, and it's a brave man who would bet against Russia, leaving Italy with the gold medal tucked away in their back pocket. Russia have won gold in 4 of the last 5 Universiade ice hockey events, then champions after beating Belarus in the final 2 years ago in Turkey. They were in quarter-final action against the Czech Republic, the team they'd beaten resoundingly 7-1 in the group stages. Well, in that group game, the Russians went ahead in the 8th minute, but they were made to wait a little bit longer this time. 2 coaches looking on nervously. Good defence keeping the Russians out on that occasion. The Czechs down a man though after Mikhail Stedry was binned for hooking. The Russians taking advantage of the power play. Yuri Nazarov and Alexander Sumin combining to tee up Vitaly Menshikov for the opener in the 16th minute. Fine finish from Menshikov. Another man was off for the Czechs. Antonin Ruzicka binned for boarding, and that meant another power play. You really can't afford to give the Russians more space on the ice. This time it was Pavel Kopitin and Andrei Demidov who turned the trick. And that was Alexander Sherbina firing home the second goal of the evening. Again, good work from the Russians. Sherbina completely unmarked. Fairly straightforward slap home for him. Into the second period, and bearing in mind their earlier 7-1 gubbing in the tournament, the Czechs would have been forgiven for giving up at this stage. But the 1997 champions did get on board midway through the period. Russia incurring a team penalty for having too many players on ice. Nazarov, the man who had to give way, that gave the Czechs the power play. And here you see Lubomir Kovacic and Wojciech Sik doing the work. Dominik Motula with the finish. 2 minutes later though, the tables were turned. The Czechs 2 men down after Radek Janel and Jakub Luka were both in for high sticking. The Russians with a 2-man power play, and that's Konstantin Turukin making it 3-1. Just before the break, the Russians made it 4, just to show that they didn't need power plays. Vasily Mordinov returning from the ice after 2 minutes in the bin. 7 seconds later, he slammed the puck home for 4-1. The hooter going right at the end. A fine return from Mordinov from the sin bin. The Czechs lost the Universiade final against the Russians back in 2005, but that high tide mark seemed a long way off at the start of the third. No chance of them coming back to win this match, but their defence did well to hold out the Russians, who may just have been keeping something in reserve for the semi-final against Canada. They did add one more just before the end, Vladislav Sokolov making it 5-1 on the night. A thoroughly efficient performance from coach Ilnur Gizatulin's team. Russia have won the men's title 5 times since the breakup of the Soviet Union. They've also won 1 silver and 1 bronze, and it's going to take a very brave man to bet against them, claiming glory again in Italy.
Ring of smoke, flutter to the air. I see my skin growing old. I look at myself in the mirror. I feel my blood running cold. Wake up, rain on fire. Wake up, running higher. I'm falling down through the skies. Wake up, rain on fire. Wake up, running higher. I'm falling down through the sky. It's in my brain. I can't explain. It's in my brain.
The USA have never won the Universiade ice hockey tournament, nor indeed have they ever reached the final. Their best effort came in 1970 on the home ice of Lake Placid when they collected a bronze medal. The class of 2013 may have ideas of correcting that. They faced an awkward quarter-final against the hosts Italy. The Italians had topped Group A, having hammered the Americans 5-1 just 3 days earlier. Scott Balboni's team not afraid to use their weight and on occasions drifting towards the roughhouse in a bid to upset the Italian rhythm. The Italians going close early on, but it was the Americans who were the first to get on the score sheet 6 minutes in. Ryan Kotkan and Philip Vendecker working to find a gap for Jonathan Fouvel, the Iowa State University student, firing the puck past Gianluca Vallini. Plenty of support for the Americans in the arena. And 12 minutes later, the Italians were a man down. Enrico Miglioranzi was off the ice for hooking. The Americans taking advantage once again of the power play. This time it was Brian McGinty and the skipper Daniel McCauley who made the assist for Vendecker to bang home number 2. And that was his second goal of the tournament. Into the second period, the Italians had never won a medal at the Universiade. They had to do something quick to get back into this match. The problem was the American defence was wiser than they were 3 days ago, and Vasalenchuk was equal to anything that they threw at it. No goals in the second, so desperation time for the hosts. And desperation turned into frustration. Francesco Di Biasio and Philip Percia both sent to the sin bin in the space of a minute for hooking. That meant a double power play for the Americans. They didn't waste the opportunity. McGinty combining with Chris Young this time to set it up for McCauley. That made it 3-0. And the Americans heading towards the semi-finals. 2 minutes later, with Italy back at full strength, it was 4. Terrific solo effort from John Oland from the University of Illinois, adding his name to the score sheet and making it a night to remember for the Americans. The game as good as over, nothing the Italians could do now, but the Americans still hadn't finished. Kotkan with a flourish, making it 5-0 at the end. That's how it finished. The Americans bouncing back superbly after that trouncing by Italy earlier in the week. They're now within striking distance of a medal. The only problem for them is that in the semis they'll meet Kazakhstan, who beat Latvia 6-1.
Smoke, flutter to the air. I see my skin grow.